For about the price of a single Pro wireless intercom belt pack, the Hollyland T1000 might be everything you need, and it's coming up next. Support the channel at DcSoundOp.com and by taking a second to like this video and check that you're still subscribed. Don't miss the year-end giveaway, it's also linked below. Thanks to Hollyland Tech for sending over their MARS T1000 system for us to check out on the channel. It's important that you know where this gear comes from, and I really appreciate and respect all of the companies who are really interested in honest feedback and input from the community here directly. So this is what the old folks at the trade shows might call a disruptive player. Hollyland Tech has come out with some remarkably priced gear in recent years, most notably wireless HDMI and SDI systems, many of which are a fraction of the cost of traditional solutions. You can find most of their gear currently at B&H as well as Amazon, and there are links down in the description below for all of the things we're looking at today. The T1000 is a really interesting intercom. It's unlike anything I've ever used before in how compact the entire package is. The modern, unique feature set that they've included, especially the integrated battery power options right on top here. It's a simple system, and I think that's a good thing right now. To clarify, this is not their top-tier Pro system. They have a system called the SESCOM 1000T that fits that role. But I've provided a lot of wireless intercom to end users for one-off productions and events over the years, and with a lot of those, it's just small venues that needed to add a handful of wireless packs to an existing installed wired system for occasional one-off use. In those situations, the vast majority of client-side issues I saw were a result of having to give them large, battery-hungry, complicated belt packs with a whole bunch of extra buttons they're not going to use, and you're giving this to users who simply aren't technically inclined in a lot of cases. Those people have a million other things on their mind in those moments, and ultimately, they usually just need some basic, reliable communication. So I think there is room in the market for a simple and affordable option. So what's in the box? The system includes the base station. It comes with 4 belt packs with built-in rechargeable batteries, 5 of these single-ear headsets that come with extra replacement ear pads, as well as some extra windscreens. And they also come with a nice storage bag for each one, and that's a nice touch. Then we have the 1.9 gigahertz high gain antennas, which they also include a spare. You get a USB A to C cable to charge each one of these belt packs, as well as an international power adapter with a nice locking XLR connector to power the actual unit. There is a custom RJ45 expansion cable included as well, along with a converter to use a regular RJ45 to extend this further up to 100 meters. That is to say that you can combine 2 of these systems together. They even sell that as a package with this RJ45 connector, and that'll give you a total of 8 wireless users and 2 wired users at the base station, or a total of 10 users with 2 systems. That RJ45 connection is wired to interface directly with standard 4-wire intercom systems that you might already have in play as well. Additionally, they also sell pre-built RJ45 to XLR cables, so you can just break out to other equipment, or you can just take the pin out that they provide and build your own, which is what we'll be doing here shortly. Hub Location Sound did a great video a few months ago about this system, and I'll link it down below, and how they've been using that feature to have intercom ability between their in-person operators on a production set and other production staff joining the shoot remotely using services like Zoom. It's a fantastic tool for merging in-person and virtual staff in a really seamless and familiar way. If you've already got some standard 2-wire intercom, some party line, some older intercom, you'll want to take a look at their 2 to 4-wire converter box. And that's an additional $500, but it features a really simple 1-button DSP auto null to eliminate echo on combined systems. It's a nice looking piece of gear that can be racked up in groups of 4 and sources power from your existing comm system. So that's pretty neat if you need to add on to something you've already got. For live event production, I could see wired system owners being attracted to a system like this. For those times where you need just a few wireless packs for key operators, chances are that something simple that's reasonably priced is going to win out over endlessly configurable and flexible gear that can cost orders of magnitude more than this to deliver. The community theater or high school drama department down the street might never have $10,000 to spend on intercom alone, and that's just the reality of that kind of work. But give them a system like this with some simple features that they can actually use, like mounting points on the bottom of these belt packs, a tally output on each belt pack, and I bet you will be surprised and impressed with just how far outside the box they'll go using something like this to solve all sorts of production problems. It seems to me that the folks that designed this system have actually worked in the field at some point in a situation like that, either maybe in theater or in low budget film. They have a really good sense of how to stretch the budget with simple but useful features that add value for everyone and don't just add complexity for the advanced users. It's a little bit of a different design objective, and one that I think is gaining popularity with consumers in recent years. Some other features to point out. The wide range of voltage inputs, 7 through 36 volts DC, is really nice to see, and the included dual NPF battery sled means that portable users like marching bands, sports teams, football teams, and small film crews don't have to worry about finding power on location or building another power system. Small film crews especially undoubtedly already have a stock of Sony NPF-style batteries laying around. They're extremely common for powering all sorts of lights and audio gear these days and different accessories on set. They're also very cheap and readily available online if you don't own any. They're very useful. They've gone with weatherproof connectors for the power input and the RJ45, which is really nice, but obviously there are some other points on this unit where water could ingress, so you definitely wouldn't want to treat it as being waterproof, but that'll keep out rain, dust, and dirt as you move them around and pack this up into your kit. On the opposite side, you find 4 USB-A ports for charging and a USB-C port as well for firmware updates. The body packs also have that USB-C on there for both charging and firmware. Another handy feature is the remote mic kill on the base station, allowing you to mute any open mic left accidentally by the crew. The system is set up so that individual packs are typically latched either on or into the mute position. You can see that here. We'll turn one on. It takes a second for it to grab the network and establish a connection. And now you see that it's muted, so I can hold down, and now I'm in talk mode. So that's latched on, and with the headset connected, oh, no, that's the tally. With the headset connected here, your on-off for talking is actually built into the boom. You'll hear a little click as I swing this boom down, and that's engaging the microphone. You'll hear it here. I'll hold it close to my mic. So you pull your boom down when you want to talk, you flip it back up until you hear the click, and you're muted. You'll also notice that these headsets are connected using a standard 3.5 millimeter headphone connection, and that opens the door to a whole host of standard headsets on the market that you can use freely. Both the base station and the body packs have adjustable settings for different types of microphones and different configurations. So really nice if you're in a jam or need to replace one of these for some reason at the last minute. You don't have to find a proprietary headset that costs a whole bunch of money. Anything wired to a standard 3.5 millimeter headset configuration should do you just fine. The audio quality between packs when you're talking back and forth isn't quite as raw and connected as a 2-wire party line feels, but it is in line with what you'd expect from a good cell phone connection.
So this is a test of the belt pack. I'm recording from a belt pack to a belt pack. So you're hearing the audio coming out of this. This is very close proximity.
There is a good amount of lag between talking and hearing myself in the recorder. You do not
hear yourself in your own headset while you're talking into here. So I'm going to turn the mic on and off using the boom, and we can hear if there's any audible sound when that happens. Here we go. That's not so bad at all. All right, I'm going to swap to recording. Now we're hearing the audio out of the base station, so a little different quality
and a
and a
more
little more
lag.
lag. It seems like that's really tricky to talk with that much lag. So it's kind of a dull sound. There's not a lot of top end, but it does the job. I think the audio off the belt packs is definitely a bunch clearer. So that's an interesting difference between the audio quality from the belt pack and from listening and monitoring right on this unit. I'm going to switch so I talk from this unit and see if that makes any difference. Okay, so now I'm talking from the bass pack to a body pack. And again, that's a different sound altogether. So interesting difference in sounds you're getting. There's a little bit of noise in the earphone while I'm using it, just a little bit of a noise floor that you're hearing. And again, you do not hear your own microphone on either of these when you're monitoring with a headset. All right, so that's it for the audio test. Pretty interesting bunch of differences depending on where you're talking and listening from, but an overall idea of what they sound like.
Typical pro wireless intercom systems offer a bandwidth between 200 Hz and 7,500 Hz, and this system's very similar, going from 300 Hz up to 5,500. I'll test this more as I use them, but 8 hours of battery life is advertised on the packs under normal use. You can charge them while using them, which is handy, but the battery is not swappable. Again, I haven't tested it yet, but battery times around 20 hours on the base station should be possible using larger batteries here. For coverage, the real key to these systems is going to be line of sight. A 1.9 gigahertz signal is not going to penetrate through thick concrete walls filled with rebar or anything like that, better than your home Wi-Fi router might, if you could imagine it in a similar situation. So good line of sight is going to be key, and through typical framed walls in a house, the results for me have been rock solid so far, but we'll do some more testing on that for sure. Now, 1,000-foot line of sight range should be big enough to easily cover a football field or two, but the real question for folks looking to push these that far and use them at those kind of distances is going to be more how they manage alongside other wireless gear and other radio traffic. That's a really hard thing to test for right now. Large events with heavy wireless traffic are kind of hard to come by. But that's going to be a bigger concern in my mind, rather than purely how far can these go on their own, perfect line of sight in a vacuum. I'm more concerned, do they work at 20 feet when I've got a bunch of other wireless mics and other maybe wireless video products, either from Hollyland or other folks on the market, working alongside, because that's the real world. You're going to put 4 or 5 people on these. You might put somebody on the base station, and if this is a small video shoot, we'd all be in the same room together, and there could be wireless HDMI stuff going on, tons of radio microphones happening down below this, which shouldn't interfere at all, but maybe you're using some higher band wireless as well for audio. So how do they handle themselves in a crowded environment? And that's something that is going to be interesting to hear from other folks who get them out onto real shoots with different combinations of gear. There's no way I can test for all of that. So it's always interesting to see how even the best products out there deal with that when they actually get into the hands of end users. So that's it for the Hollyland MARS T1000 first look. If you've got questions about anything, there's not a ton to actually go through on this features-wise, other than the fact that it tends to just work when you turn it on. There's no scanning and changing frequencies or any of that kind of stuff to deal with. So leave your questions down below. Thanks to everybody who supports the channel through Patreon and by visiting DcSoundOp.com. I will look forward to hearing your thoughts and questions and opinions, and anything you want to ask Hollyland directly. I'd love to pass along and get responses for you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.